Deconverted Man here. I have found the worst arguments against Christianity that aren't even arguments. This video, oh man, you know, every now and then you just find a special sort of video that you almost don't even need to really make any commentary on it. It's like it almost just speaks for itself. But I'll go ahead and commentary on it anyways, because that's what I'm here to do. And hey, I figured out my audio issues. The video I had up last time where things were completely silent, that's gone because audio issues. Anyways, forget about all that. Doesn't matter. What matters is we're going to look at this video called 6 Arguments Against Christianity, debunked in 5 minutes, because this is a new thing that people are doing now. A whole bunch of arguments debunked within a limited amount of time, First we had all the arguments, done, and now we have 6. So, I don't know. It just seems to me like rather than debunk any arguments, how about just evidence for your thing? Oh, he has a video about that too. It's real short, and I mean, maybe I'll include it as a bonus after this one. This one's only 5 minutes and 12 seconds, so we're only going to be here. Let me see. Let me calculate this based on Deconverted Man metrics. And let's see, carry the 5. We're going to be here for 50 years to analyze this. So strap in. Here we go. Okay, it's not going to be that long. It's not going to be that long. I promise. It's not going to be 50 years. But it is going to be maybe long. Maybe not. I don't know. Here we go.
Arguments against Christianity debunked in 5 minutes. If God created everything, who then created God? And look at it this way. Our universe is made of space, time, and matter. For God to be able to create this universe, he had to be outside of it. So not bound by matter, which means he is immaterial, not bound by space, and also not bound by time, which means that God was never created and never will be destroyed. God always was and always will be. That's why nobody had to create God.
Okay, so the first question, and you'll notice an interesting trend with these not enough quotes in the universe arguments, and that they're not arguments, they're all questions, and that I don't think any of them, except for one, is against Christianity, nor has anyone ever really made these arguments. These are because they're not arguments, they're questions. Okay, so who created God is a question asked when somebody does the whole, things need to be made, and and God made everything. Oh, really? Well, what made God then? Well, God doesn't need to be made, you see, because it just doesn't. So God requires special pleading to be invoked. And that's the only way around the problem. You simply pretend that God has always existed, and that's it. You don't need a cause for the creator, because it is the cause of all the things. How that works doesn't matter. How it works, that's just it. There you go. There is no thing that made the thing that made all the other things, because. And the special pleading required, well, let's just ignore that. That's it. There's never been a decent solution for that I'm aware of. It's just a big giant special pleading required for God. Now, of course, he extends the problems by saying God's outside of space-time, which means that God is nowhere and no when. God has no time to do anything. So if it's outside of space, in fact, then there's nowhere. It needs to be somewhere, but it's not. it's immaterial, so it's not made out of anything, so it doesn't exist anymore, and it's outside time, so there's no way that it can have a moment where it is thinking about something and then it does the thing, because it would always be doing the thing. But then that's not how time works for us, because time didn't start until space started. And so how would that work with it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But this isn't an argument against Christianity. And he doesn't solve the special pleading. So, okay.
Isn't sin outdated? For that, we need to ask, what is sin? Sin is something that separates a human from God. And since God doesn't change, then what is sin also doesn't change, which means sin is not outdated. If something was sin once, it always will be sin. To give you a better perspective, understand this. Do you think what makes a good friendship changes over time? Or what makes someone happy? Do you think it changes? No, of course not. Happiness works the same now as it did 2,000 years ago. People are still truly happy with the same things, family, hobbies, etc. Some things don't change over time. So no, sin is not outdated, not even waiting till marriage. What was God's will 2,000 years ago is still God's will today.
Okay, again, you'll note, just a question, not an argument against Christianity. This would be a loaded question if somebody asked it. Also, it'd be kind of an appeal to novelty in a way, like, hey, it's old fashioned. Don't you want to get rid of it? Because, out with the old, in with the new. So, yeah, it's just very bizarre. I would ask what sin is. What do you think sin is? Because the Bible has 613 commandments that I read on my channel. And if one was to obey all those commandments, then you'd be free of sin, right? Well, some of them don't apply to you particularly, but nonetheless, and somewhat, of course, you didn't need the temple to be rebuilt to do them. But if you could get that done somehow, then following all those laws that you can follow or would mean that you are free of sin. The whole point of all those commandments is apparently that humans can't live up to the standards of God, and thus something, I don't know. But the Jewish people don't really have a concept of sin. That's introduced in the New Testament with Jesus. He's the one that introduces that whole thing. And there's a whole bunch of things that are considered sin, once that concept is introduced, but it's unclear what exactly is sin. What things, what actions or inactions are sin? Is it the first set of 10 commandments or the second set of 10 commandments? Or are all those irrelevant because Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself? So if you do that, wouldn't you be free of sin? Also, since Jesus died for your sins, then if you accept Jesus, then you don't have sins anymore at all, right? Or is it that you still kind of have sins, and so you need to continue to accept Jesus's death in order to not have sins anymore? I don't know. How does it work exactly? I'd love to know, but you don't have those answers. And I don't suspect anyone would either. But yeah, I don't believe in sin, so this wouldn't be an argument against anything at all. So I don't know why you're pretending that this is an argument against Christianity. I guess because you thought it was easy to answer. I don't know.
Why does God allow evil to happen? People usually go like this. Is God all powerful? The answer is yes. Then they ask, is God all loving? Yes, he is. Does God care about us? And the answer is, again, yes. From first glance, it may seem like God isn't all loving and doesn't want to stop the evil, or that he is not powerful enough to stop it, or he simply doesn't exist. None of which is true, and I'm going to prove it. One of ways to understand this is that evil is here because of our free will.
Okay, so when you say that you're going to prove something, you need to follow that up with proof, not more assertions, not, well, this is an attempt at some sort of argumentation, but it's certainly neither valid nor sound as far as arguments go. At best, this would be an essay, but it's unclear what your thesis statement would be or your supporting paragraphs that upheld it. So, no, you're not even presenting a decent argument at all. You're just baldly asserting things that you think respond to the problem of evil, which you have horribly watered down. The problem of evil is actually an argument against certain God concepts, especially ones that are all loving and all powerful, because God cannot be all loving and all powerful, and yet there be problems in the world. We could change the word evil, by the way, to any other word. We could say problems. I like to say suffering because it's much easier to define suffering than it is to define evil. Um, but free will doesn't really answer this, not even a little. In fact, if free will's your answer to why there are bad things in the world, then God truly can't ever intervene with anything ever, because free will prevents God from acting, which would then mean God isn't all powerful, which means you failed the criteria of the problem of evil, because it frames it that if God is all powerful and all loving, then you wouldn't have suffering. And you're saying, well, free will. Okay, so it's not all powerful. Okay, so you responded to the problem by admitting that God is not all powerful because free will beats out God because reasons. Also, God couldn't figure out how to make free will and also not have problems because God's a nitwit, which goes back to my best argument for God. God's a nitwit. There doesn't even need to be any premises for that argument. That is the argument. God is a nitwit. That's why things are so messed up. If I could just get that popularized, maybe somebody somewhere will just be like, yeah, God's a nitwit. There, I've proven God. And then you can just say it's whatever God you want. You can say, oh, yeah, I've proven the God of Christianity. And then the Hindu can be like, yeah, God's a nitwit. I've proven the God of Hindus. And I'd be like, I've done it. Anyways.
If God wanted to stop the evil, he would have to limit our free will.
Why?
But that doesn't explain natural evils like tornadoes, which is not will of anyone. There are more ways to answer this since the Bible doesn't give us a clear answer. I will try to answer it like this. How do you know what's evil?
Okay, so I love that he's actually admitting the Bible doesn't tell you. Yeah. And when you're getting all your ideas from the Bible to try to address real life problems, you're going to find it very, very wanting. The Bible is a static piece of history. As such, it cannot hope to deal with modern day issues. What should we do with microwaves? What should we do with nuclear power? How do we handle oil? What do we do about all the factories that we've made and all the different machinery? How do we properly use the internet without sinning? No idea. It's not covered in the Bible because none of that stuff was around. So it can't hope to address anything that we deal with in our modern day lives. Kind of a tangent, but whatever. What was I saying? Oh, how do you know what evil is? Well, I guess I could go with Hitchens. Religion is evil. There you go. I know what evil is because evil is religion. Christianity is a religion. Therefore, Christianity is evil. Thank you so much. But yeah, evil is things that we don't like, things that are bad. That's how do we know that? Because we know what we don't like. But this is why I personally go for suffering rather than evil. I use the argument of suffering if I use it at all, because suffering is a lot easier to define. It's things that hurt, living creatures, shorten their lifespan, or make something feel pain. So there you go. But yeah, he's just gonna go into the how do you know what evil is? It must because there must be a good, and that good must be God, right? That's what he's gonna do. Yeah? Alright. Now let's listen to him do it.
Pain can make you stronger. Sadness isn't always bad. It can make you more mature. It would be
Wait, what?
impossible
No, you
for us
didn't
to
do
try
it?
to understand why every type of evil happens, but I don't think it's a problem.
Wait.
It's evil. Seriously, how do you know? Pain isn't always bad. Pain can
Okay, so he didn't do that. Instead, he's saying, how do you know what evil is? I mean, pain can be good because, like, wait, what?
evil. Seriously, how do you know? Pain isn't always bad. Pain can make you stronger.
Pain can make you stronger. Well, I mean, if you work out, I guess there's some pain involved in that. But if I was God and I was building humans, well, I don't know that I'd build them with the need to work out, but I would make it that if they did work out, that it didn't cause them pain to do it. So that doesn't answer anything.
Sadness isn't always bad. It can make you more mature.
Sadness isn't always bad. It can make you more mature. I guess, but there are other ways to make people more mature other than sadness. So that doesn't really answer the thing. So basically, you're saying that God permits evil because God's an asshole. Sorry, God's a nitwit, and it's all to make us better. Unless it kills you, in which case, I don't know what the point of that was. You know, I mean, let's just say, there's a family that's in, I don't know, Japan. Let's just say it's around the World War, the second one. And they're just chilling out, minding their own business, going about their day. And they just had a new birth come in, and hey, what was that flash of light? And they're all dead. All of them. Instantly vaporized thanks to the nuclear bomb. Well, that sucks for them. And everybody that knew them's also dead, pretty much. Well, what was the point of that? Well, sadness made somebody stronger. So I guess that explains that. What an asshole your God is. Anyways, I don't know. Just saying.
It would be impossible for us to try to understand why every type of evil happens, but I don't think it's a problem.
So your answer is I don't know, but appeal to the mystery of God. So don't worry about it. It's not a problem. Just trust me. It's not a problem. I don't know the answer, but it's. I'm just gonna ignore the problem because I'm sure God's got it. There's some answer for it. Don't know what it is. How about God's evil? That would be an answer.
That's because if you know we are in good hands, you don't have to understand why exactly it happens.
But we're not in good hands, and we're not in hands at all. So, but if we were in hands, they wouldn't be good because they're allowing evil. Anything that permits evil is not good. That's it. There's no good reason to allow evil. You are pure evil if you cannot make good happen without using evil. Period. End of story. That's it. So your God is evil. Okay. Thanks for not addressing the problem. You didn't negate your God by doing so. Well, I guess you kind of did because you think your God's all loving, but it's not all loving. So it's all evil. So that means your God doesn't exist. But instead, a different God that's all evil exists. But that wouldn't be the Christian concept of God, which makes your God negated. But this other God, now we have to contend with that and figure out how to get out of that problem. But that's a different problem. Anyways.
You just have to know it's here for a reason and that God wouldn't make you, me, or anyone else suffer unnecessary pain. Now, I'm not saying.
How do you know that, though? Like, you don't know that. You don't know that. You're asserting it. But, like, the people that don't believe in God and all the people of different religions, like, like, they're going to go to hell, right? So what was the point of the pain for them? Anyway, right now, my neck, I have like it's like hurting. And the reason it's doing that is because the muscle is like not happy because, I don't know, whatever. I slept on it wrong or whatever. I don't know. And there's no real purpose in it continually reminding me that it hurts. Because it's like, yeah, I know you hurt. Okay, you can stop now. There's nothing I can do to fix you. You're just going to have to fill out muscle. But, like, my brain can't tell my muscle to do that consciously. So, what's the point of it? Like, it's not making me a better person. It's not making me closer to God or anything. It's just annoying. But free will! Anyways, yeah, just trust me, bro. You're stupid.
Saying we should blindly accept it, but as I already said, there isn't one answer to this question because we don't know the answer.
No, it doesn't seem like there is an answer. So, but yeah, at least you're admitting that you can't verify the answer, which means you don't know the answer, which means this is an unresolved problem. So the problem of evil, still a problem for you. Oh well.
All we need to understand is that this does not disprove the existence of God. And if we know God is real, we can know that evil is there for a reason.
No, you can't. You assert that if you knew that God was there, then you would know that the evil was there for a reason. But you wouldn't know that because you don't know the true nature of God. God could be chaotic, somewhat good, somewhat evil. And sure, it tells us that it's good, but it's lying. What's stopping God from lying to us? Absolutely nothing. So you're just blindly believing that God is good from its own words, but its actions don't look good to me. So I don't believe that it's good. But I don't believe in it at all. So it's kind of a moot point. But I'm just saying, if I was to believe in it, I would have to believe that it is not good.
Now you may ask how we know God is real. And if you wait till the end, you will understand. What if the
Spoiler, you won't understand.
Bible was rewritten? Any unbiased historian will agree that the Bible we have is 99% identical to the original.
Any unbiased historian will agree that it's 99% identical to the original. Citation needed. Please, I would love to see your list. He doesn't have any citations in his description. Of course he doesn't. I'd love to see your list of historians who say this. Don't tell them, guys, and girls and robots. We don't have the original, so there'd be no way for anyone to be able to actually say this. Also note that he says unbiased, so that means he could automatically dismiss anybody who disagrees with it, calling them biased by disagreement. So I'm just saying he's loaded that. Kind of interesting, don't you think? Anyways, don't tell him that, okay? Anyways, all right. But yeah, that's nice. Citation?
And the changes that did occur do not change anything in the context. Only spelling differences. That is because the Bible spread really fast. That means that if you had 1,000 copies of the Bible and a person tried to rewrite one, we would easily know which one was changed, because there are 999 the same ones and one different one.
What if all of them have various different errors in them? Then what? Like, let's say half of them said pie and the other half said pineapple. Well, which one's right? How would you figure that out? You know that one of those words is right and the other one's wrong, but you don't know. Who cares? It's just minor changes, minor spellings and such. Yeah, and it's not like the thousands of copies weren't all copied from one or two things that could have been changed from whatever the bleep the originals were. No, that didn't happen either. Oh wait, that is what happened. Oh, we don't know what all the copies, and do we have that many copies? I don't know that we have that many copies. So yeah. Anyways, I'd love to see the citation of this again, but you don't have it and you won't produce it. So yeah. Anyways, all right.
Which is kind of sue us. The numbers were just for an example. In reality, there were much more. So, no, the 15th century Pope did not rewrite the Bible. Why should we?
The 15th century Pope did not rewrite the Bible. Pretty sure I heard that right. Let me know in the comments if I didn't. Did he say the 15th century Pope did not rewrite the Bible? I want a shirt that says that. Anyways, why should we trust the Bible in the first place? Again, not an argument against Christianity, and it's just a question, but a decent question at least. Yeah, watch him screw this one up. Here we go.
Trust the Bible in the first place. What if Bible writers made it up? The New Testament of the Bible was written by many people, from eyewitnesses of Jesus and his apostles to people like Paul.
Okay. We don't know who wrote it because most of those people didn't know how to read or write, you know. Like, I think you had two people that would have been able to read or write out of the disciples. And that's like whichever one's like, he was like a doctor or something. And another one was like a politician, something ish related to that. I can't remember off the top of my head because I stopped caring about this stuff a long time ago. So you really don't have that many that could have written it at all. And the other thing is, these are accounts of the people, like they're the gospel according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, whatever. So this is somebody saying this is what their gospel is. It's not that person anymore. If that person wrote anything down, that's lost to history. Whoever, the earliest writings that we have are way after the event, and all the events. So those people wouldn't have been there to witness it, that were writing down whatever it was they heard. Whether they read it from something that was written or they gathered together these stories from people that knew the stories, who knows? Because they don't document how they gathered the information in the book, which I think would be extraordinarily important to do if you want people to think that this is legit later on. But, you know, God being stupid and a nitwit didn't tell his disciples how to do any of that, nor did he teach them how to read or write. Why didn't Jesus write a gospel? It's so weird. Anyways, I don't care about Paul. He's crazy. and a liar, and nothing he says can be trusted. But I think, is Paul like sooner than the other gospels, like as far as the writings that we have, and then all those writings appear later on or whatever. So the earliest writings we have are from a madman, and then the later writings that we have preserved, um, by then it's already legendary of a story, and so goodness knows what people believed and who wrote it down or what. Who knows? But it's not these people. And remember you said there's historians. Yeah, if you actually ask an actual biblical scholar, they might actually tell you that we don't know. But oh well, whatever. So you know. Anyways, what else? So we don't know Jude. Why is Jude in there? It's a weird one. Jude wasn't a disciple. Paul Camish. I am not a liar. I don't know. Oh, Luke and Matthew. Yeah, like Luke was like a scholar. I don't remember now, but yeah. Anyways,
who were murdering Christians until he had a vision and converted. These people literally got tortured and murdered for their belief.
All right, so this same old, we've heard this many times. Citation required. No, none of them got tortured and or murdered for their beliefs. Maybe one. I don't know. But like this is just a thing that Christians have said for a long time. And wasn't Apologia who really challenged this and got it down to the nitty gritty where it's like not a single one of them had an opportunity to recant of their beliefs or anything like that. And isn't one of these stories like John that's like writing like what happens and then he gets beheaded, but somehow he's able to keep writing the story anyways? It's very weird. So it definitely wasn't John after he got beheaded, but he didn't get beheaded because of his beliefs. So I don't know where you're getting these ideas. You said Paul's a liar. Not Paul in the Bible. Jeez. Anyways, yeah, so citation needed for all this, which you don't have, and he's not going to have.
Beliefs. What I am saying is that they didn't have any reason to willingly die for lying.
Okay, so this is a giant misconception too. They didn't, first of all, okay, let's assume, because why not, that these guys made up a story. They didn't write it down. Somebody else did. A couple of them maybe wrote it down immediately, right? But the rest, they would have had to rely on somebody else writing it down. But whatever. Let's assume that they all wrote it down, even though they couldn't. I must listen more. Poor Paul. Yeah. A guy in chat, if he thought I meant him, and it's like, no. I was talking about the Paul of the Bible. Man. Oh, right. So all the disciples, right? If they're making up the story about Jesus or whatever, they don't know that they're going to get killed for that, right? They don't know. They're just enjoying the fame and attention that people are giving them for having this fantastical story that they're spreading around. And if you've got a popular story, that's going to get you potentially money, sex, power, or just attention. All of those are more than enough reasons to lie and make up a story. Now, the idea here is, well, they got tortured and killed for their beliefs. No, they didn't. Some of them got killed, but not for the. None of them were put in a position where it was like, recant of your belief or die. That didn't happen. But there is nothing that I'm aware of that 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 actually you could demonstrate that people wouldn't die for a known lie if they were entrenched deep enough in that lie, because no matter what, if you're captured and the person's willing to torture you, whether you tell them or the truth or not doesn't matter. They're going to kill you one way or the other. And they could promise that they'll kill you quicker if you tell them the truth, but they could be lying. So you might as well stand by your story, because then you don't lose face. You go down victorious, to spite them not giving in to their demands. So, but this never even happened. Also, even if it did happen, it wouldn't prove anything anyways. So, yeah, citation needed, I guess.
And even if you look at the message of the Bible, it is exactly opposite of what people would write for their benefit. The Bible speaks about giving to the poor, having one wife, and loving your enemies.
Well, those things could have been added later, but yeah, no, making a religion, it has many multiple benefits, and telling people to give to the poor, have one wife, love your enemies, whatever, that's all part of the package deal of forming a religion of some sort. You're going to have rules, you're going to have codes, you're going to have ethics, but of course you can break them because you're in charge. Yeah, it says have one wife, but that doesn't apply to me. I'm the leader. Or you'll be my wife, don't worry about it. Or you just don't tell them that part, right? And did they actually live by these things? I don't know, you know. But at any rate, no, this doesn't explain away all the possible motives somebody has for making up a story.
Nobody would spread this message for their own benefit.
Sure they would. Read The Lobsterist. The Lobsterist says a whole lot of things that nobody would make up because it doesn't benefit them. What a silly thing to suggest. Who, even if you can make up a story not thinking it will benefit you, but you enjoy the story. Like, storytelling is a thing that humans do, and people love hearing stories. Maybe it started out rather innocently. We're just going to tell a story. It's completely made up. Everybody knows that. But as the crowds grew, it became like less of a fantasy story and more like real. And eventually they just gave up calling it a pretend story because everybody loved it so much. That's possible too.
What if all religions are true and have
What if all religions are true is incoherent? This is not an argument against Christianity. This isn't an argument at all. This is just silly. No. Nobody would use this as anything ever. All religions could be wrong, that's for sure, and I think they are. I think that there are certain things that by accident religions stumble on and into that are kind of right, like poetically or metaphorically, but you can get the same or better from non-religious sources. So, but this is just a silly thing. Like, I think he ran out of ideas here and just threw this one. But let's see how badly he screws this one up.
a way to God? According to the Bible, John 14.
Yeah, Now, that was pretty fast. Appeal to your own holy book to say that all religions can't be true.
6 says, Jesus answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Therefore, the Bible is clear on this point. But some would argue, saying, what if they don't believe in the Bible? Then it can't be the only path, can it? Consider it this way. Does anything change when a bus arrives at 10 a.m. every day, but you don't believe in it? I'm trying to
Wait, what?
convey that whether or not someone believes anything, it doesn't matter if it is objectively true. If it's real, it will remain true whether you believe it or not.
Well, you actually got that right. Yeah, if something is really true, then it's true regardless. But you didn't really answer the question that you just asked, which is what happens to people who don't believe in the Bible? Do they go to hell? Do they stop existing when they die? Something else? I don't know. What's your theology there, buddy?
So there are just two choices. 1, the Bible is false and Jesus is not the only path to heaven.
Okay. The Bible is false, but Jesus could also be a path to heaven. That would be another possibility. So already I'm breaking your dichotomy here. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this is a false dichotomy. Because why not? If God wanted Jesus to be a pathway to heaven, God could do that. Who cares if Jesus is lying or not? Again, God's a nitwit. It can do whatever it wants.
2, the Bible is real and Jesus is the only path to heaven.
Yeah, there's the Bible could be real and but Jesus not be the pathway to heaven because that part of the Bible was made up. But the rest of the Bible was real. So the Bible is somewhat real, but not all the way real. Oh, look, it's a third option. Oh, man.
The hardest thing now is figuring out how to know if the Bible is accurate, and therefore know if Jesus is the only way to heaven, which we answered here.
You, wait, what? You said at the end we would know. That's it? That's it. That's it. That's it. That okay, guys, girls, and robots, as a bonus, because this didn't take me that long to talk about. Let's go ahead and look at his other video. Oh yeah,
6 arguments.
he's got another video. He's got 2 whole videos. It's amazing. I love it. And
I can prove Christianity is.
It started playing before I was ready. It's great. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I love it. It's called "How I Can Prove to You This Religion Is True." Capitals. All right, here we go.
I can prove Christianity is the truth. And by the end of this video, you will think the same. There are countless religions. We need to find the truth. But how? Evidence. I'll have to summarize it because there is so much of it. For instance, the accuracy of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John is acknowledged by historians. These men wrote the biographies of Jesus. 11 of Jesus's 12 apostles gave their lives willingly in defense of their beliefs. For instance, just before Peter's crucifixion, Peter asked to be turned upside down because he desired to be more humbled than his Lord Jesus Christ was. There are countless prophecies about the coming of Messiah, and Jesus fulfilled them all. These are backed up by sources outside of the Bible. Let's not lie to each other. This is very good evidence. Remember that this isn't about speculating about possible outcomes. It's about trying to find the truth and looking for what is more likely. Therefore, if I may offer you some advice, I would suggest that you do your own research rather than just accepting everything I said without deeper thought. Open Google and start typing proof of the Christian faith. Try to see more points of view, look at more sources, and think for yourself. YouTube videos are also a great place to start. These are good. What about the other religions? You are telling me all those people are living in a lie? And that's super simple. Most people are definitely living in lies, no matter if Christianity is true or not. That's because the religions there contradict each other. For example, Buddhists believe in reincarnation, while in Islam there is heaven and hell. They can't be both right. You don't have to be a scientist to understand that. And so that's how we know most people are wrong, because all the religions say something different. That way, we can be sure either one religion or no religion is true. Can you reach heaven only through Jesus? According to the Bible, John 14:6 says, Jesus answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Therefore, the Bible is clear on this point, but some would counter saying, what if they don't believe in the Bible? Then it can't be the only path, can it? Consider it this way. Looking at the sun with open eyes hurts. Does anything change when you do not believe in the sun? No, tea will still hurt. I'm trying to say that whether or not someone believes anything, it doesn't matter. If it is objectively true, it will remain true whether you believe it or not. So there are just two choices. 1, the Bible is false, and Jesus is not the only path to heaven. 2, the Bible is real, and Jesus is the only path to heaven, which we already answered in the last point. If you are the target audience of videos like this, you will 100% like our Discord. And there we are also planning some great things to do that you don't want to miss out on.
Okay, so you might have noticed I was silent throughout that video. I have nothing to add to it. I think it speaks for itself. But just in case, let's go back here. Just in case.
For instance, just before...
Come on, get back to the thing, get back to the list. Come on, get me to the list. There we go. Okay. Gospels are not reliable. Again, citation needed to show that they died for Jesus. I don't know what that means. And then prophecies fulfilled. No. Just no. I mean, the thing is, the New Testament was written after the Old Testament. So the people writing it could have easily just said, yeah, Jesus fulfilled X, Y, and Z. And in fact, they do that. They say, Jesus did this, and that fulfilled this thing in the Bible. But the Jewish people who know what the prophecies actually are like, nope, that's not a prophecy. And when you look at the dang thing, it don't match Jesus many times. And then it has Jesus doing ridiculous things like riding 2 donkeys at the same time. Also being born of a virgin. That's just not possible. So I don't know. But yeah, the prophecy thing fails. So no to all this, and that's really it. This didn't prove anything, and I don't think a single one of you would be convinced by this. In fact, I'm pretty sure none of you are convinced by this. Nobody should be convinced by it, but at least he did say do your own research. However, he went about it the wrong way. He said to type in, Christianity, whatever the belief. No. Try to disprove it. Don't try to prove it. Try to disprove it. That's the best way to find if something is true or not. Because if you try to disprove it, a whole bunch of things are like, oh yeah, this isn't true and this isn't true, and it's like you keep finding evidence, against it, then yeah, it's probably not true. Hey, what did I do way back in the day? Oh yeah, I remember doing research and like looking for the archaeological evidence of stuff and not finding things. Yeah, I remember doing that. But yeah, do research. And you won't find anything to support it unless you want it to be true. Then you'll find plenty of stuff. But if you actually go about it, without trying to confirm your bias, then you'll discover it's not. Anyway, so he's new to YouTube, this guy. I'm not sure if he's a robot or if he can't say words right, which, that's cool. I don't say words right all the time. So, welcome to the club, not words right of person say. But I'm still gonna maybe make fun of it. I don't know. Maybe not. Don't hold me to it, because I'm weird. You know. All right. Well, that's all I got for you. Today, for now. I mean, I might do something later today. Probably not, though. Then again, who knows? Nobody knows. All right. Thanks for watching. Be a skeptic, and because people can make up stuff, and people can lie, and we can be wrong. So those are good reasons to be skeptical of things. Moreover, I would say if we don't have empirical evidence, a repeatable test, or a valid and sound argument, we should be skeptical of the conclusions. All right, hey, so it's under an hour. Can't believe it. Did it. Did it, everyone. It was under an hour. By 10 minutes. Yeah, but still, it's under an hour. Oh, I'm still on? Oh, shoot.